Joining us is Supervisor Aaron Peskin, who is once again on the way to creating a national story out of San Francisco. This time, it's taking the lunches away from the techies. You and another supervisor are proposing a ban on these tech headquarters having cafeterias and kitchens inside. What's up with that?
Well, this is an interesting instance where so-called moderate supervisors and so-called progressive supervisors are coming together, and when that happens, we get a little bit of change. In this case, a little spare change in the hands of restaurants and retailers who are suffering. The reality is, over the last bunch of years, these companies look inwards. They provide all of the food on site, amenities on site, and as a result, thousands of people are not walking around patronizing the streets. This does not apply to existing facilities, of which there are now 51 of them in downtown and the south of Market, but it would apply going forward to new construction.
Well, you have an interesting point, because the mid-market idea and the Twitter tax, the idea of relocating these tech firms, these giants, in the middle of San Francisco was a way to revitalize the neighborhoods. But when you walk through those neighborhoods right now, you have these self-contained buildings where people rarely step out and go to restaurants or any other business.
None of the promises of the so-called Twitter tax break came to pass. They said there would be more people and eyes on the street. They said that it would help revitalize ground floor retail and restaurant. The opposite happened.
And in other words, we have sort of the homeless are still there. We have these behemoths of giant tech headquarters, and everybody's living in their own contained environment. On the other hand, tech brings a lot of money to San Francisco. So are you sending a message like, stay out of here, you're no longer welcome?
No, absolutely not. I think it's time for tech to evolve. There was a period of time when that was a forward-thinking model. Interestingly enough, if you look at Bezos from Amazon, they actually do not have on-site restaurants. They encourage their employees to become a part of the community in Seattle. We need to make that change here in San Francisco.
Isn't this just a continuation of the nanny state?
I understand that people might see it that way, but it's really a basic piece of zoning. And zoning actually is about behavior. That's why we have industrial stuff in industrial areas, residential stuff in residential areas. This is really a common sense zoning tool.
Common sense? San Francisco? Never thought I'd put those two words together. From Amazon to Uber, it's a new reality on the streets of Bay Area cities. As delivery trucks come, people pick you up, meals come in, people rarely go out. Joining us this morning is San Francisco Supervisor Aaron Peskin, who has a long-running debate about this new phenomenon. And you've introduced a couple of things, everything from possibly getting rid of these in-house restaurants and kitchens for the big tech firms to adding on charges for Uber and Lyft rides. What has this got to do with our culture?
So as tech has permeated all aspects of life in the Bay Area, it's time for government to catch up, whether it's getting our fair share, so we have equitable taxation policies to deal with the impacts of Uber and congestion and public safety. All of that should be paid for by the Uber, Lyft, et cetera. Right now, they're not paying their fair share. This is a game of catch-up. We played catch-up with Airbnb. We played catch-up with the scooters on the streets. It's another game of catch-up, but the government is focused on rational policy in and around how to regulate and equitably tax these industries.
It's interesting because let's just take transportation, for example. Years ago, the big motto was transit first in San Francisco, get you out of your cars. Well, we had Uber, Lyft, and Amazon deliveries come in, so rather than getting in your cars, you're calling somebody else's car in to get you. How do you handle that? The streets are more crowded than ever.
Soon it'll all be done with drones, Phil.
So maybe then we'll have the sky as well. Are you going to try? Is that the next regulation? I mean, how do you keep up with this change?
It is always going to be a game of catch-up. In some instances, we've gotten out ahead of it, but these things have to be regularly and appropriately addressed. Okay.
When we do that, however, this is also part of the economic engine. Every Uber driver you're talking about is a citizen too and trying to make a buck. Every Amazon delivery is trying to make a buck. How do we keep from penalizing that or keep that going?
Right, and actually that's one of the big issues. I mean, all of these companies are trying to make money, and our job is to make sure that it's done appropriately, whether it's minimum wage, whether it's health benefits. As a matter of fact, the 1099 economy has been a race to the bottom. They come kicking and screaming every time, whether it was Airbnb who did not want to pay the hotel tax. Now they're proud of the fact that they pay the hotel tax and are part of society.
Yeah, and they're all going to probably wind up paying their taxes and passing it on to you, me, and everybody else that makes a call.
Welcome to America.
San Francisco Supervisor Aaron Peskin.